Hi again, humans, and today we're going to be talking about one of Jaden's very first loves in card games. And technically, the very first was Pokemon, because he grew up in a time when Pokemon cards were all over the place. But unfortunately, there's not a whole lot that I have planned right now for talking about Pokemon, the trading card game. If that's something you guys want, let me know. I'll think of something. But today we're going to be talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! And specifically, we're going to be talking about the top 10 Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks that Jaden ever liked to play. So, I thought we would just go over them briefly and see what you guys think. Now, this list is in no particular order because it would be a nightmare to try and organize this list. And plus, I had to go off memory because I'm not Jaden, I swear. I can't read his mind. So anyway, we're going to start by talking about the first deck on the list, and that is Anti-Meta. Now, anybody who has played any card game at any time, anywhere, in any place knows about anti-meta decks. Anti-meta decks is basically, well, it's very simple. You look at what the current meta is in the card game you're playing, and then you build a deck to stop the top decks of that format. A lot of common examples of this, in Yu-Gi-Oh! Especially, is if you're looking at take the Chaos Dragon format. Remember Chaos Dragons and how they always wanted to just put their entire deck in the graveyard, and it was basically a race in the mirror match to just get Future Fusion on the field, dump everything in the grave, and then end your turn? Well, Future Fusion and Chaos Dragons, that was a very tough deck to beat. So if you weren't playing Chaos Dragons, you most likely played a deck that banished cards out of the grave. And that is basically what anti-meta is. You look at the decks that are currently ripping up the meta, and you're like, how can I beat them? I have an idea. I'll just build something that screws with all of them. Anti-meta. Next thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about plants. Now, plants is a little tough. Plants is an archetype that never really took off by itself. And by itself, I mean as just plants. It always seemed like plants were being taken and splashed in with something else to where it was more viable. So, under here, I wrote junk, TG, frog, etc. Because I know for a fact Jaden played all of those types of decks. He really, really, really loved TG plant, and he really loved junk plant. So, plant decks were always really fun, but then Konami saw that people were abusing the plant engine with Dandelion, Glow Up Bulb, Lone Fire, Blossom, and Spore, along with the Tengus, and just did away with them. And it was probably for the best too, and Glow Up Bulb to this day is still banned for being the broken mess of a card that it is. I mean, sending the top card of your deck to the graveyard in almost any deck is a good thing. So Glow Up Bulb at this point remains banned, and it probably is going to stay banned. The next deck we're going to talk about is Harpies. Now, Harpies was a deck that Jaden played toward the end of his tenure in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think the reason he stayed in Yu-Gi-Oh! For the little longer that he did was because Harpies finally got some good support. They already had a field spell that was pretty decent, but they really didn't have the monster lineup to back it up. So they got access to Chandler and a really good card called Hysteric Sign that was pretty much search anything you want, and it was really easy to crack off. I mean, one of the easiest ways to do it is just with magical hats. You summon a monster, you set magical hats, you end your turn, your opponent enters their battle phase, you activate magical hats, targeting your monster, and call out 2 Hysteric Signs from your deck, face down, shuffle the 3 up face down, and at the end of the turn, they all go away, and Hysteric Sign will activate. It's actually really funny. The next deck we're going to talk about is Blackwings. Now, if you've played Yu-Gi-Oh!, you know about Blackwings. Konami hated this deck because when they hit it on the original ban list after they won and just were winning all over the place, mainly because of their ability to spam the field and then summon out Dark Strike Fighter to sack off all the monsters in the end phase to take out what was little left of your opponent's life points, they kind of hit them hard by hitting Black Whirlwind, Gale, and other things to make the deck harder to play. But the community just wouldn't let this deck die. until eventually the deck just became so slow it couldn't work. To this day, however, Blackwings have gotten some support, and actually they have a monster that's on the ban list, believe it or not, and actually two at this point, both that are broken as hell. But however, Blackwings are actually kind of viable as a fun-to-play deck. If you haven't played Blackwings, I highly suggest that you look at their new support if you haven't. Jaden has been playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist on the Switch, and he's been really entertained with it, and he really likes playing the old classic decks, and Blackwings is one of them. Personally, if you ever watched the Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's anime, they always kind of annoyed me, because did you ever... The guy that played Blackwings, what was his name? Pigeon? I think it was Pigeon. But every single time Pigeon summoned a monster, he would be like, oh, now I'm in a special summon because all birds of a feather flock together. And he said that every time. I didn't like Pigeon. Not one bit. The next one we're going to talk about is Chaos. And this is a big one because Jaden loved Chaos variants. Chaos variants is just basic decks where you take a bunch of dark monsters, a bunch of light monsters, you shove them together, and you use the Chaos monsters like Blackluster Soldier and Chaos Sorcerer. Well, eventually, Blackluster Soldier got hit, Chaos Emperor Dragon got hit, Chaos Sorcerer was at 1, Chaos was practically dead until they brought BLS back in 2012? I don't know. But BLS now, I believe, is at 3. And its Chaos decks are actually pretty viable right now. So, I highly suggest you look into Chaos decks if you're looking for a good an old, fun, classic deck to play. Chaos decks are a lot of fun to play, and it is one of Jaden's favorites. Next we're going to be talking about is Dino Rabbit. Dino Rabbit. This takes me back. Remember Tour Guide when it came out? It was expensive as hell. But Jaden really didn't start playing Dino Rabbit until Tour Guide got its reprint. So he was kind of a little late to that party, but he to this day still loves Dino Rabbit decks, specifically Macro Rabbit. It's a lot of fun to just summon out Rabbit, fetch 2 dinos, run over your opponent, and then summon a monster that basically has the ability to tell your opponent no. It's a very fun strategy. Next deck, Dark Worlds. Now, Jaden had a friend who played Dark Worlds, and Jaden swore up and down he would never play Dark Worlds. But remember when I was talking about plants? Yeah, when the ban list came along and basically pie-faced Jaden's plant deck, he was very, very upset. So he didn't know what to play. He ended up playing Dark Worlds, and to this day, his friend still has not let him forget it. So... But Dark Worlds are fun. You can basically eat away at your opponent's hand with Drag Down to the Grave and Mind Crush. It's a very fun combo, and with the new virus cards, if you can activate EED on someone at the right time, you can end their game and destroy them. Spell cards are more important to the game now than ever, and if you can take away someone's spells, they generally lose the game. Next deck, Cyber Dragons. Jaden loved Cyber Dragons. He saw Cyber Dragon in the original GX anime and loved them ever since. Cyber Dragons are actually very good right now. They have some of the most broke cards. They have one of the best searchers, Cyber Emergency, ever to exist. If your opponent negates it, doesn't matter. It's just an amazing card. Also, Cyber Rampage Dragon. It's one of the most broke fusion monsters ever. When he comes out, blows stuff up, and he can get a total of 3 attacks in a turn after you power bonded him. So he can be somewhere in the neighborhood of around 4,000 attack and swing 3 times and end your opponent's day. So, well, yeah, Cyber Dragons, they're fun. Just side in your super polys for them. Next, we're going to be talking about Heroes. Jaden played Heroes. He's a walking meme. But yes, Jaden did play Heroes for a while. Now, Jaden had a love-hate relationship with Heroes, and his theory was because the reason the deck hated him was because he played Cyber Dragons first. Now, anytime that Jaden played Elemental Heroes or Bubble Beat or any variant of Heroes in a local tournament, he would do great. He actually topped quite a few local events right after he built his first hero deck. But both regionals that he went to with Heroes, he bombed. And he would just dead draw every hand. It was actually pretty hilarious, and Jaden didn't play Yu-Gi-Oh! For about a month afterwards because he was pretty ticked. So, needless to say, Jaden doesn't play Heroes anymore. He just has fond memories of when they worked. So, the last deck that we're going to talk about, I saved till last because it is Jaden's favorite deck of all time when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! And if you know Jaden, you probably know the answer to this. Teledad. Teledad. Teledad was Jaden's favorite and still is his favorite deck of all time. Basically, it revolves around Dark Armed Dragon and the Destiny Heroes. You use the cards like D-Draw, discard your Mally, draw 2 cards, and then you summon out your Fearmonger. This was a cool combo back in the day. You'd play Destiny Draw, discard Mally, draw 2, summon Fearmonger. End your turn, your opponent would run over Fearmonger, and then in your next turn, you special summon Disc Commander from the graveyard, and since Disc Commander was summoned, special summon from the grave, you drew 2 cards, and then you would sack it off for Caius. And it was actually a pretty fun combo that he did. And he also had a lot of fun just dropping 3 Dark Armed Dragons in the day when you could do it. It also led to a lot of very, very unhealthy times for Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Teledad is considered one of the tier 0 decks of all time, along with these other decks like Pepe and stuff like that. Like, if you've played Yu-Gi-Oh!, you've heard of Pepe. We don't talk about such degenerative garbage on this channel like Pepe. Pendulum summoning is why Jaden got out of Yu-Gi-Oh!, in case you didn't know. But I'm pretty sure you do, because when he talks about Yu-Gi-Oh!, he just cannot resist saying how much he hates pendulum summoning. So, well, guys, that's all I had. So in the comment section below, tell me, what is your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks of all time to play? What is your least favorite decks to play of all time? I know Jaden really hated Wind-Ups and Insectors. But in the comment section below, please feel free to share with me all of your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks to play with, too. Please feel free to leave 1, 2, or even a top 10 list of your own. So anyway, guys, I hope you're all doing very well, you're safe and healthy, and I hope that you guys will check out our next videos when they come around. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Please let me know if you liked this type of video, and if you like seeing me. I hope that you guys really will enjoy the new content that this channel is giving to. See you later!